Hello and welcome to this microchip tutorial on installing SoftConsole version 6 with Renode on Debian. There are several steps you have to take when installing SoftConsole on Debian. The first is to download a copy of the installer and the release notes from the Microsemi website. The second is to make the installer executable and run it to install SoftConsole. Once you've installed SoftConsole, there are several post-install commands that have to be run. And then finally, you also need to add sources for the monocomplete package and then install monocomplete itself as well. So now let's have a look at how to do this on Debian. The first thing I need to do is download a copy of the installer and the release notes from the Microsemi website. So I'm going to open up Firefox and do that now. The easiest way to find the SoftConsole product page is by going to microsemi.com/FPGA. Once the page is loaded, go to the FPGA and SoC Design Tools tab. And once you're there, you can select SoftConsole from the left-hand side of the page. Once the SoftConsole product page is open, you can go to the Downloads tab, and you can select the SoftConsole version 6 Download for Linux section. This will take you to the Microsemi SoC portal, and if you have an account, you can log in with your username and password here, and if you don't have an account, you can click New User to set up one. Once you've logged in, you can click the link to start the download, and if you get a pop-up warning, you can simply allow pop-ups to let the download continue. And while the installer downloads, I'm also going to download a copy of the release notes. So now that that's finished downloading, I'm going to go to my downloads folder, and you can see I now have a copy of the SoftConsole installer and the release notes. I'm going to open up the release notes now. So I'm going to go to the installation section and then Linux and then installing in the release notes. The first section is just describing what the SoftConsole installer is and what its name is, and that's this file here. And the first thing you have to do is to download the installer and ensure the executable permission bit is set before attempting to run it. And you can do this by opening a terminal in your downloads folder and using a chmod +x followed by the name of the installer command to set the executable bit. Next, you can run the installer. So I'm going to open a terminal in my downloads folder and then use the chmod +x followed by the name of the installer command to set the executable bit. And then I can use // and the name of the installer to actually launch it. So when the installer launches, you'll be asked if you want to actually run the install wizard, and this will run it in GUI mode. And sometimes this window might not appear, and I'll show you how to resolve that now. You can fix this by running the installer in console mode, and this is simply done by typing in // the name of the installer and then -- mode console. And this will run the installer without a GUI and directly from the console. So I'm going to stop that and go back and run the installer in GUI mode now. So I'm going to select yes and run through the install steps. So I can accept the terms in the license agreement. This is just some README information. And then next I'll be shown the install path for my SoftConsole installation. Next is just a summary, and then finally the installation will begin. Finally, I'm just given a reminder that there are some post-installation configuration steps that need to be carried out before I can successfully use SoftConsole. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the installer now. If I return to the release notes, I can go to the after installing section. Here there are several commands that have to be run on different platforms, and the first one is to debug hardware targets. I need a 32-bit package installed, and the following commands need to be run with sudo or root privileges. So I'm going to make myself root now, and I can just copy and paste commands directly from the release notes into my terminal. And as I'm running on Debian, I'm going to copy the commands for Debian. So I can just paste directly into the terminal. So sometimes when commands are on new lines, some of the command won't be run properly and it will print out into the terminal again for you. The easiest way to resolve this is to run the apt-get install followed by the standard C++ library to resolve the issue. So if I type in apt-get install, this standard C library will be installed now. So now that that's finished, I can move on to the next set of commands that I have to run. So for this, many platforms have GCC and make packages installed by default, but it is advisable to make sure that they're there. So I can just copy the Debian command directly from this section and paste it into my terminal. And you can see that it's telling me that Build Essential is already the newest version and no packages have been upgraded or installed. Finally, package sources for monocomplete need to be added, and then monocomplete needs to be installed. And this is needed for running Renode. So you have to follow the link in the release notes and then install monocomplete, and then the commands are listed below for you to do this. So if I click on the link now, it'll open in Firefox. You can see it's taking me to the Linux download section on the monocomplete website. And as I'm running Debian, I'm going to select the Debian heading here. And I'm running Debian 9, so I can just copy the commands directly from the Mono website and paste them into my terminal. So I can copy and paste each command from the Mono sources into my terminal. And then I'm going to just paste the final apt update command into my terminal now. Now that I've done that, I can return to the release notes, and the final thing I have to do is run the command to actually install monocomplete. So when you're installing Mono, it can actually take some amount of time for the packages to install and for the compilation to take place. So it's normal for this to take about 20 minutes, and the easiest thing is just to leave it run. So now that that's finished, I'm going to close my terminal and close my release notes in Firefox, and I can go and check that my SoftConsole installation has been successful. So if I search for SoftConsole in my installed programs, I can click the SoftConsole logo to launch it. So when you first launch SoftConsole, you're going to be greeted with the Eclipse launcher, and here you can select your workspace. There are two included workspaces, an empty workspace with no project and workspace.examples, which contains several example projects, and I'm going to launch that now. So now that SoftConsole is launched, because this is the first time I'm running SoftConsole, the C/C++ indexer is running. So if I try to close projects while it's running, I can sometimes cause an error to occur, and I'll show you that now. So I'm going to close the projects unrelated to Sysdig Blinky. So there's a slight delay and the projects don't close straight away, and if I let the indexer run and complete, we should see what happens. So now it's come up with several errors, and they're simply that it's tried to close a project that isn't open, and that's because I'd already selected to close it. So this error can actually be ignored, as it's not really a problem. So now that I've gotten through that, I'm going to just check that Renode is set up correctly. So I can do this by using the External Tools configurator. There are two pre-configured Renode platforms. One is the Mi5 Renode emulation platform, and this is pre-configured to launch the Mi5 subsystem. And then the other is the PolarFire SoC Renode emulation platform, which is configured to launch PolarFire SoC. I'm just going to test with the Mi5 one now. So if I click Run, Renode will launch for me. And you can see that I've got my Renode console opened up and my Renode UART analyzer as well. So this shows that I've successfully set up SoftConsole version 6 with Renode. I can click the X on the top to close Renode, and then I can also click the double X to clear my terminated launchers. So that concludes the setup of SoftConsole 6 with Renode on Debian. To summarize the steps that I took, I downloaded a copy of the installer and the release notes from the Microsemi website. I made sure the executable permission bit is set in the installer and then ran it to install SoftConsole. After the installation, I ran through several post-install commands, and finally I added the sources for MonoComplete and then installed MonoComplete itself. We have a significant amount of tutorial videos, and recordings of our Renode webinar series are going to be available on the Microsemi website in the Mi5 RISC-V ecosystem section and then the Renode webinar series.